All right, brother Shane, right off the bat, I got to start with the hard hitting scandalous questions. Nah. Um,
Right.
you're a Cleveland guy.
Yes, sir.
My favorite baseball team is or was the Indians.
Mhm.
How do you feel about the name change, what the name was changed to,
Mhm.
and the logo?
I feel like the logo could use some work. I'm not sure how or who's involved, and this is no disrespect to anybody who worked on it, but it's kind of like the LA Rams logo, where you're like, this is what you chose for the hundreds of millions of dollars that's going to be tied up in revenue for this. This is the this is what you chose. It's like, all right, but I feel like the logo could be better, but I like it. Um, and as far as the name change, like people have to understand, right? We're living in a day and time where more information is being brought to you than ever before from places that you didn't even know existed because you were never taught these things, right? So when new information is brought to you, it's not this, oh my God, this PC culture, da da da. No, fam, this shit was wrong. You've been allowed to do it. We've been allowed to exist in this world for hundreds of years. This shit is wrong. We are now in an era where people are starting to fix those things. Right now, it's kind of just at sports teams and trying to make people understand that more pride is taken, more feelings are here, more culture is at stake than what you choose to see. But we haven't even gotten into equality in education, law enforcement, legal system, redlining, income and inequality. We're not really touching the hard shit yet. We're really kind of just outlining the surface of things. So if you're upset by that, you may want to buckle the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? So
Whole
um
time.
you know what I mean? So, but as far as what it means to Cleveland, I think it's dope. Cleveland is a city that very much protects our way of life, our people, who we are. That's why sports teams mean so much to the city, because you understand what you have to go through when you live in that city. You understand the blue collar work ethic. You understand the grind. You understand just what it is to look out and see those gray skies and be from those streets. You know what I mean? So that's why people say, you're either from Cleveland or you're not. You either understand that mentality or you don't. And so with a name like the Guardians, it does feel like, yes, this is our place. This is who we are. And you have to protect home, So I'm looking forward to seeing how the team is, seeing what they do, rebounding, because we were just in the competing for World Series titles here just a few years ago. So hopefully we get back into that very soon, and I'm excited.
Man, all right. Sticking with Cleveland, can you
Mm.
give me a Cleveland hip hop Mount Rushmore?
Okay, Bone Thugs counts as one, like,
Mhm.
because you could put the whole group up there and there'd be your Mount Rushmore. But I'm gonna take them and put them as one head, if that counts, right?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
then you also got a guy like Ray Cash, who's been an underground
Ooh,
Cleveland king forever.
that's a good one.
Um, Probably Chip the Ripper,
Okay.
I'd imagine. Because like a lot of people are from, but you said hip hop though. There's a lot of people from Cleveland that aren't hip hop. So it's like you've got like Gerald Levert's from Cleveland, like you know what I mean. So it's like, hold on. So let's see. So you've got him. Mm-hmm. I mean, people are gonna be mad, but probably MGK too.
I didn't want to say it as a joke, but like
No, you can't say it. You
No,
cannot
that's
say it.
fine.
no, but I mean, if people are really going to talk about people who go out there, produce hits, garner fans, and I mean motherfuckers that are gonna be ride or die fans, and then put the city on your back on top of it. That's him. You know what I mean? You're out there. You know, people will question the beef with him and Eminem, which to this day I still say he won. Right? He beat Eminem. I know a lot of people don't want to fucking see that, but I looked at Eminem's response the way Tyson was later in his career. Right? People were so hungry to see any sort of semblance of that old him that whatever they got, they just amplified to the moon. But when you really think about it, it's like all you did was repeat what MGK said. You said it in a funny way, which is what you do, but you really didn't give us any new information, right? If you're going to say one call to Interscope and you're Swayze, I get it. Great punchline. But you just said what he said. Like, he said some shit you didn't like. You tried to cancel his career, which the old you would have seen as a bitch move. You see what I'm saying? Are you more successful? Yes. You're a bigger star? Yes. Okay. None of that is refuted. The point was to be having all this and to be that guy to then take the time to act like you've somehow been wronged in such a way and to come out with all this heat when you could have just done this shit the day he said it. Like, homie, you've been thinking about this for 6 years? I'm supposed to apologize to you for something I said? You, of all people, Mr. Tom Green can fuck a dead moose. You want an apology? Get the fuck out of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that was like, bro, this old you is soft. The younger you would have fucking laughed you out the building. And I think like MGK was just saying, like, I represent that new era of rebellious dude while you're still, you know, you've lost that. You haven't lost your skill, but you've lost that guy, you know? And I feel like M said the same thing. He was just like, I'm bigger, I'm better. And we were like, okay, funny, but you didn't say anything different.
I like
Yeah,
that,
that
man.
whole. Oh, I was going to say that whole like let's talk about it reoccurring in the song. He's like a real like promo. Like, come on, like how are you going to respond? Like after everything I just said, he's like, I think
right, like
just
yo,
talk about it.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fact you're this guy, but you still went to these motherfuckers for me to apologize to you and try to shelve me. Like, let's talk about that. Let's talk about facts. Let's talk about how, you know, with everything you're worth, with everything you're doing, why do I matter to you so much?
Yeah.
And if you're upset about something that I said about your daughter, fair point. As a father myself, I could understand that. If that's the case, I'm sure you have ways of contacting me directly. And that day, been like, hey, motherfucker, I appreciate that shit. I want you to get on this phone with me and my daughter and apologize to the both of us. Hey, man, if that's how you feel, I can respect that. However that happens is how it happens. But you don't say nothing for 6 years, come with this whole album, and now it's a thing. You're like, whoa, why did we have to get to this point? You know what I mean? But it is what it is. But it's entertaining. It's entertaining as fuck.
That's what's up, man. Speaking of your daughter, you spoke the last time we spoke. You told me that she was a fan of I believe one of the Viking Raiders, which is one of your buddies, and some of the ladies over there over in WWE. Is she still a fan of anything that ain't her daddy? And who is she checking for now?
Honestly, the funny part is she likes rooting against me more than anything, which I'm just gonna chalk up to, you know, your firstborn. They want to go against the grain. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure I was the same way. But yeah, Eric of Viking Raiders fame, Ray Rowe. She loves him. That's her godfather. He's the godfather to both my kids. Man who helped train me. He's responsible for us probably having this conversation right now. You know what I mean? So huge shouts out to him. And yes, she's a huge fan of Sasha, of Bailey, you know. So when we do watch it, that's who she's always asking for. So looking for Bayley to come back and really do her thing, and for Sasha to come back and be able to be back where she is. She's a huge fan of Bianca as well. So she gets to see her out there doing her thing, and it's absolutely dope to see. One of the best videos that I've seen was that other little girl reacting to Bianca's title win. She's like, she won the championship. I was like, damn, you know what I mean? Like, put tears in my eyes, father. Like, that's dope as hell, you know. And this is what people don't understand when they talk about, like, well, why does everything have to be about race, or why does a rep? Because it means something to people, bro. So many people are used to seeing themselves in every main event and everything, that they don't realize that other people aren't getting the opportunity to see that. So when they do, it's special. So that's who she's checking for now. And she has a lot of fun doing it.
That's what's up, man. Now that we made sure the family was straight, we talked a little hip hop. Mm-hmm. Let's start the show.
Let's get it.
Greetings, wrestling fans, and welcome to another action-packed card of All-Star Wrestling.
Yeah, it's the Black Rasslin Podcast where we're built for cup. Nah, it's a joke. Shout out, man. Shout out, Cal. Shout out, Math. Black Rasslin. I am IlFam79 on your social media choice, aka the Aunt Addison of podcast, and Captain Brew Albano, Brew Diamond Phillips, Sticky the Dragon, Steamboat, Pod Shampod, God's favorite podcaster. And to my left,
Davis, aka Drip, Stat Guy for BRP, but also, I won't keep it up here for long, the BRP predictions champion.
Don't worry, you won't keep it for long.
You said that last week, and how'd that play out?
Damn.
How about them Cowboys?
You got to remember, I can still do this. Listen, so me and Shane, this
that is true.
Nah, man, y'all see, no Cal, no Math this week. Instead, it's very special guest. It's for the second time on the Black Rasslin Podcast. Brother Shane Taylor Promotions. What's going on, brother?
What's up, man? What's going on? Thank you guys for having me again.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for coming through. Outstanding. I guess we can just really kick this off the way we have to kick this off. The reason I hit you up, it was like I need you to come back to the show, man. There was about a month ago, I was at I think the first live wrestling show I've been to since everything's been going on. Mm-hmm. This happened.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Me, brother Math, Black, you know, the whole squad was there. And I mean, you know, CM Punk cool, but this went on.
Mm.
Can you talk about the build up to that image, how we got there, and how it came across and how it's been received?
That came about. I knew if this was going to be the last time that myself or anybody else in that ring was going to be in a Ring of Honor ring, we wanted to make sure there was an impression left, not only upon the people who were there to see it live, but for everybody at home who's been supporting us for years. That moment was something that was my idea, that was meant to be a sign of solidarity, not just for the people in the ring, but our fans, our culture, or anybody of any background that understood that when you fight for something as hard as we fight for it, when you try to lead this game by example, that we're the guys, we are what you want to see, right? And that was just our salute to our friends, our family, our culture, our fans for supporting us and really riding for us. because they made their voices heard. I've made no secret that when STP started, I was told people didn't like it. They didn't want it. They thought it was bad for the company. They didn't want to market it. They wanted nothing to do with it. And 2 years later, with the help of those same fans, we've turned that into the faction of the year, the most talked about moments, the most talked about group, the most successful group, brought titles that were essentially, that were afterthoughts and brought them back to prominence. We've done all this, right? With the goalposts constantly moving, the prerequisites for success constantly changing when it comes to us. We've done all of this in stride and continue to be successful, continue to have the same message, and it's been received very well by most. I'd say 95% is very positive. The other 5% is people being too ignorant to understand what this is, right? This is not, being pro us is not anti anything else. That's what so many people have to understand. What they're used to is being pro other stuff, being anti-black. So you correlate the two when there really is no correlation. And I remember when I first got to Ring of Honor, I was told there's nothing you're going to be able to do to change this place. The stigma was what it was. It will always be that. And people have left Ring of Honor thinking that. People have not signed to Ring of Honor thinking that. And my question, like I've said before, is always, if no one is here to change it, if no one is here to fight, how does it ever change? And so my time there, that is what I set out to do. That is what I set out my legacy to be, to make those changes. And lo and behold, in my few years there, you've got Black History Month celebrations. You've got, roundtable podcasts talking about police brutality and systemic inequality. You've got now moments like this to where people didn't think that was possible. People didn't think that was going to be a place, not that platform, not with its governing body, that you were ever going to see something like that. Yet here we are. And so again, it's frustrating that even for the 5% that people don't educate themselves enough to understand what these things mean. They only associate it with whatever they see on TV. But that speaks to a lot of the general laziness of, wrestling and how we promote things, how we market things, how we utilize things. We're in a sport that most people don't like to research. They don't like to do the extra work. They just want to be handed something and be able to be told, well, this is what that is. The problem with that is we are not a monolithic people. We are not a monolithic culture. We run the gamut and the spectrum of everything, just like everybody else does. And in the sports, sometimes you need nuance. You need different things, and you need to be able to present them in a way that everybody who watches finds something to be able to relate to, that requires depth of character. And some people are just too lazy to really put that out there.
Yeah, that is a fact. Now, that night was the match with Kenny King.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget seeing them bring the ladders out, knowing that you guys were next. And my cousin, shout out to Brother Math, asking, mm-hmm, what are those for? Who's going up on those?
Mm-hmm.
I did not expect that match to be as aggressive as it was. If you could tell me a little bit about putting that match together and the reception to that match as well.
I remember when we were talking about it, and this is months before, when everything went down with the hiatus, us thinking like, you know what? The only story that really makes sense to continue telling is ours. And it almost plays into our favor that all of this is happening, because now this really does feel like this Doc Holliday versus Wyatt Earp OK Corral feeling. And like, fam, if this is the last time we step in this ring, who better to step in here with, to step into it with, than the guy who helped me get to this point? You know, there was something very poetic about me and Kenny being in there, and that being potentially the last match I ever have in a Ring of Honor ring. I remember the story that we wanted to tell. I remember the lessons that we wanted to teach, because a lot of the things that I do and how I set up my stories and I set up my matches are tell stories that we never actually have to say, right? But people just somehow understand. And the match with Kenny was no different. That was our way of showing that, because especially with Black culture, a lot of us are taught, or what you see on TV is that you need to cut your brother off at the knees to be successful. There's only one of us that's going to be there. There's only room for one at the top. Do whatever you have to do. Stab whoever you have to stab in the back, because you're the only one that's allowed to eat. That's a fucking lie, right? So what this situation was with me and Kenny is, from Kenny's standpoint, he saw this kid that he mentored. He's seen every great champion climb to the top in Ring of Honor. He knows what it takes. He knows what they have to have. He saw that in me through the TV title run, through everything. Then when I formed STP, I took a step back, not because I couldn't be that guy, but because it was about getting the team to be where I'm at, right? Which is very admirable, which is fine. But what Kenny wanted to impress upon me was being world champion and making that kind of history that only one other person like Jay Lethal has been able to make in 20 years. That is not a group title. That is an individual title. In order to be that guy, you're going to have to separate yourself and take that next step. And in his mind, when I went into that match with Roosh, I hadn't taken that next step yet. For people that know me best, they know a motivated and pissed off Shane Taylor gets to where I need to be. So Kenny, being that mentor, being that friend, said, you know what? I know what's going to motivate you to get you to where I know where you have to be. And if I have to be the catalyst to get you there, then I'll do that. If I've got to be the one that you run through to make sure your mind is in a place that you achieve the history that I know that you can achieve, that's what I'll do. Thus, the chair shot. Thus, now me being denied that opportunity, and in his mind, really feeling like he saved that opportunity for me going forward. And now I'm in a spot to where my focus shifts, my thought process changes. It's still about the team, but now I have that sort of killer instinct back to get to where I need to be, which is being the top guy and having to go through him to do it. And of course, he's not going to let me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm still going to have to prove against one of the best performers, one of the most underrated performers of the last 20 years, that I'm ready to be that guy, the guy that I know that I can be, the guy that he knows that I can be, the guy that the people know that I can be. And Final Battle was that test. Final Battle was that match for me to be able to go out there, put all of the distractions aside, and go out there and prove on the biggest stage with every eye watching that we could go out there, steal a show, and that I could be, the face of any company.
So when the match concluded, things went down. It looked like Kenny got a STP jersey. Is that going to lead to something we see in the future?
I mean, it's possible. In that moment, I really wanted to just impress upon him that I understood, that the lessons that he's taught me throughout my years there, I understood that was the last lesson. You know what I mean? That I understand what he was trying to teach me. I understand where he needed me to go, and that's where I'm at, and I wanted to essentially, again, show that appreciation by giving him the shirt off my back. You know what I mean? Because that's still my brother. You can fight with your brothers and still be, handle it like men, and then you go about and you go about your ways, but that's still your guy. You know what I mean? So those are the lessons. Those are the things that we try to teach. Saying things without saying them, but still being very much a part of telling our stories in professional wrestling that don't really get a lot of attention. And so is the option there for him to join? Absolutely. Is that something that he would want to be a part of? I would hope so. Time will tell. And the only thing about that is I feel like a lot of people that were a part of that are somehow getting punished for it. Like I've yet to see Caprice announcing anywhere. I hope he gets the chance to do so. But
Chris Coleman.
Absolutely. He's one of the very best in the sport. So if people are upset or are punishing people because of what we did, like, don't punish them. Be mad at me. That's fine. I'll take that as my idea. You know what I mean? But I don't think what we did was wrong. I don't think there needs to be a punishment or people not be given opportunities because they were a part of it. I think that's bullshit. So shouts out to everybody who had the balls to be out there and stand up for what they believe in. Big CB, world famous, 99 overall CB out here. Eli Isom, everybody in STP, Kenny King, the whole crew.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask this about the match real quick. You said you wanted to create this story. Were you inspired by anything? Any movie, a song, a book, or something that influenced the match? Maybe a previous match that built up and culminated that final battle?
We wanted to tie in some other fight without honors. You know what I mean? The Steen and Generical one comes to mind. So we wanted to kind of throw it back to that a little bit. But overall, the real inspiration of it was just us and our story and our culture and wanting to be able to be, on that stage, the two of us who fight for equality, who really put our necks out there to make sure things go a certain way and make it understood why it needs to be a certain way. And to be honest, Kenny is one of the only people other than Caprice and my guys, you know what I'm saying, that really do that, and so that really was like one of my fondest memories because I know how hard we work. I know the conversations that we have. I know the frustration that is shared between the two of us. And you see in this game who speaks out, and that says a lot. What's even louder is those that don't. The ones that don't say shit. The ones that sit back, stay quiet, and just go with the flow. And to me, that also, motivates me to continue to be exactly who I am because what we do helps everybody. What they do only helps themselves. And if that's what they want, fine. But we have bigger dreams and bigger goals that we want for ourselves and for the generations after us.
So Brother Math just asked from the chat, was it planned for Caprice and the others to come from the back?
Yeah, we planned it. There's no. I'm sure if I would have put the idea out there would have been some resistance to the idea. You know what I mean? So that was just something I was like, hey, we've got this time. We'll do it within our allotted time. So people shouldn't have a problem. But this is something that I want to do. No one was forced. This is something that everybody wanted to do. You know what I mean? As again, salute to the platform we had, the people who supported us, and the people who have allowed us into their homes and to be a part of their lives for, the last 5-6 years.
So you kind of alluded to it quite possibly being the end or definitely just the future kind of being a bit uncertain with Ring of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is the difference after that event? I see there's been some takeovers in other organizations. How do you think they'll do how they'll pivot from what their old model was to what the new model is, and where does a Shane Taylor fit in that new model?
Ring of Honor historically has always had the ability to recalibrate, reload, and continue to be successful no matter who's come, no matter who's gone. They've always done that, and that's been a credit to the talent that's been in the locker room. When you have star players at every spot, it's like, for lack of a better word, it's like Alabama, right? Like every year you're going to have talent. Every year, and I'm not an Alabama fan, I'm an Ohio State fan, but this is just it is what it is. When you have that level of talent in that locker room, it's next man up, it's next woman up, and there is very little to no drop off when it comes to talent. Right now, how you market that talent, how you use that talent, the ability to put that talent in positions to be successful, that's changed. But the ability for the talent to go out there and perform has always been there. So hopefully, I don't know what the roster is going to look like. I don't know if that includes us. I highly doubt it does. But whatever the case, people that I know who are still there, I don't wish them any less success than if I was right there with them. So I hope things go well. And, it's on us to go out there and find a new home.
So what's that look like for you now? Are you looking to keep it indie? Are you looking to sign with one of these promotions? I mean, there are more and more promotions popping up, not just fly by night, but sustainable models of business. There is a GCW, of course, going on upward. There is an Impact. There is an AEW. There is an WWE. Where is that train headed right now? We did just see one of the squads on TV the other night representing against some of these folks' favorite. But where do you guys go next?
Honestly, man, I like. There's a lot of options. Keeping it indie is definitely an option. I've never been one of these guys that was like an indie darling, you know what I mean? Where everybody's just like, oh, you got it. Like, I've always moved more low key. I've always moved more deliberate, and I like that. So that's an option. There's been a few calls with a few different places, and right now for us, wrestling feels like this very much gold rush time, right? Where everybody's scrambling to go somewhere. But I feel like a lot of people are going to do themselves a disservice by going somewhere just for the sake of going there, right? So for us, it's a waiting game. It's all right. We will let the pieces sort themselves out, let the dust settle. Once the surprises stop, once this sort of wrestling arms race stops, then we'll see what's left. And then when people look around and they go, oh shit, what's the commodity? What's the hot thing out there that's still going? Oh, it's these motherfuckers. Okay. Now all of the attention is not a million different places. It's solely fixed on one option, and that option being the baddest group in this fucking sport.
Yeah, let's talk about that group. Shane Taylor Promotions.
Faction of the year, by the way.
No, I said it first. But that being the case, outstanding. That being the case, 3-man or 6-man tags. Of course, the groups that come to mind are first the Freebirds, which is the opposite of what we're doing here. Of course, the New Day.
Right.
Even little vanilla midgets called Undisputed. Anyway, you've had a couple of
the Shield. There's been a few, yeah. Yeah,
there's been some 3-man teams. What part, I guess, in the history of pro wrestling do the 6-man tags have in the history of pro wrestling in general?
It's a good question. I think we provide something different. We provide the ability for there to be more excitement. Anytime you're in a ring and there's more than the people that you are used to seeing, there's going to be new elements of danger, new elements of surprise or excitement that are involved in those matches. I feel like 6-man tag matches are at a faster pace. Things are going a mile a minute. And it just provides something fun for the viewer, for the fan, and for us while we're out there and competing. You know what I mean? So, sorry about that. So for us, I think we definitely took that challenge on to go, you know what? We don't want to just be great. We don't want to just be great champions. We don't want to just have a great run. We want to make these belts the prize. We want to make these the top belts in the company. We want to make 6-man tag team wrestling something that people want to see. And I believe every time we went out there, we elevated those titles. We elevated ourselves. We elevated, that style of tag team wrestling. And it's good to see it sort of making its own emergence in other places as well. Now, the competition, on the other hand, for me, I was always taught, never believe someone's reputation until they prove it to you, right? So there's a lot of people going around calling themselves the best 6-man tag team, the best trio, the best whatever. All that is well and good, especially if you're the one signing the checks. But until you're in there with us, you can't call yourself the best of anything. Until you're throwing hands with us, you can't call yourself the best trio. You can't call yourself the best faction. You can't call yourself the best anything. Until you're out there with STP, until you're standing in front of us, it's all just lip service to me. You know what I mean? So, whoever needs to hear that, whoever that's at, who you are. We're not hard guys to find. We're not hard guys to contact. Rev has his phone open at all times. So the challenge has already been put out there multiple times. So if people really wanted to smoke, if they really wanted to prove that, if they really had it in them, we could have done something already. So we'll see.
Walk the talk, basically.
Basically, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm from a city that, we ain't here to really talk that much. If we got an issue, let's go handle this shit and be done. But, a lot of people don't subscribe to that way of thinking. There's a lot of lot of dancing and a lot of bullshitting that to me means you ain't really ready for these problems.
But speaking of your city, Cleveland, obviously one of the greatest of athletes of all time, LeBron James is from there.
Mm-hmm.
He had the ultimate heel turn with the Miami Heat.
Right.
Comes back to Cleveland, wins the title. That's a big signature moment in that city. Do you have a moment like that in mind for yourself, or was the 6-man title that? Do you have something like that in mind for your career?
I think wherever it may be that I'm able to win the world championship, that I'm finally able to be that top guy, I think that'll be my moment. That'll be, and the subsequent run that I go on with it will cement my legacy in the sport. To become, I call them the immortals, right? To become one of the immortals that is able to lead a company and do so, and be proud of that. That's been a goal forever, the challenges that come with that, the obstacles that come with that. Again, like I said before, it's establishing a legacy like that, and your legacy being about more than what you do inside those 4 ropes means everything. So I feel as though my legacy is being established outside of the sport. Now what I need to do is culminate my legacy inside of it. And if I'm able to do that, then I think that the impact I've had inside the sport, my talent, my ability to inspire those outside of it and to help lead a movement inside and outside of the sport, I think that would allow me to be able to say, hey, when you stack up the accomplishments, when you stack up the runs, when you stack up the opponents, when you stack up the matches, I can put my name up there with guys like Jay Lethal, with guys, like the Briscoes, with guys like Samoa Joe, the Danielsons, to go, my era, my run was just as good, as theirs. And here's all of the proof to be able to say, to weigh it out for yourself.
That's that leader talk, man. I have actually heard someone refer to you as boss man, and I'll get into that in a bit. But the cool thing about you as the head of STP, I've noticed, is that like when you hop on socials, you pick your spots. You're not like, I'm eating Frosted Flakes this morning, or you know what I mean, I just got off. Right. You know what I mean? It's you seem to pick your spots. What are kind of the pros and cons of us black folks? Sorry, Davis. Kind of taking up our corner of social media, you know what I mean, as black wrestling fans, and the workers kind of are all in this like this cool new corner of the pro wrestling space,
mm-hmm.
and we're loud in our space to each other.
Mm-hmm.
How do you navigate that, and what do you think of our new voice as it is in 2022?
I love it. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's pros and cons for everything. You know what I mean? Sometimes we do jump the gun. This is wrestling. Sometimes we need to let some things play out. You know what I mean? But for the most part, I feel like when people are griping about something, there's a good reason for it. You know what I mean? Not every time, but most of the time. And I feel as though years ago, we wouldn't have had so many vocal fans. We wouldn't have had so many vocal talents. And it's a credit to the sport that we're able to do this now and find that voice, because this is the only way things change. Things don't change when you just sit back, keep your head down, stick to wrestling. It doesn't change anything. The status quo continues. And what people say, what I hear when people say that is, shut the fuck up and let things stay the way they are. I don't subscribe to that. Things need to change. Things should change. And if they can change for every other group and every other demographic and every other movement can be supported, which fantastic, they should be, it should be the same for us. Either we fix this sport and fix everything, or we're full of shit and we fix nothing. You see what I'm saying? We can't pick and choose who gets fucked over and who doesn't, or who we're comfortable allowing to be thrown under the bus and who we're not. To me, that's bullshit. You either fix everything or you fix nothing, and everybody shut the fuck up. You see what I'm saying? Like, to me, that's fair. That's what it should be, and I give credit to Swole for what she said. When people tried to come at her left, it was like, did y'all read what she said? She said, yes, speaking from her perspective as a black woman, this is what she would like to see. But she also wants the same for however many groups she named. It's like she wanted the same for women, for Hispanic talent, for other talent. It's like, y'all understand she just said everybody, right? She said primarily us, because I'm speaking from my point of view, but let's also get the shine to everybody else who deserves it too. So people are going to hear what they want. They're going to judge things the way they want, because most people aren't in a position where they're willing to listen. They're fighting their ignorance. They're fighting their cognitive dissonance. They're fighting holding on to this is my grandfather's wrestling fucking mindset, and not understanding that the sport, society, everything has evolved past Midwest American conservative values. You see what I'm saying? Like, other people are being thought of, other people are being marketed, other people support this product. So their opinions, their beliefs, all of that matters too. So for us, it's good to see that awakening happen.
In the current landscape, where everyone has options.
Mm.
Going forward, how do you empower yourself and your team to really thrive now, as opposed to maybe what was different when you first started STP or when you first started as a worker yourself? How do you move forward now, and what moves do you make to guarantee that success on the other side and prosper?
I mean, the best thing that we can do to put ourselves in a position to be successful is remain who we are. Let those who we work with understand, hey, when you get us, this is what you get, right? This is the brand. This is who we are. This is what people have come to expect of us. This is something that we expect of ourselves, right? There's a level of authenticity that is here because that's that's what reality is. And so I feel like any place that has the courage, the ability, the balls to take the chance and and push the envelope a little bit, especially in today's era, like they are going to be the ones that prosper the most, as well as us, and they're going to get something truly special on their team, because I feel as though STP can go down as one of those historic factions. And I mean historic, like when you talk about a DX, when you talk about a Horseman, when you talk about even in present day, when you talk about a Bullet Club or an Elite, these are legendary factions that will be, or New Day, you know what I mean, that will forever be remembered when you talk about the sport. And I believe we have the ability to do that.
Hey man, y'all can throw up all the hand signals y'all want, the two sweets, and I don't know what this was, but ain't none of that strong as the fist. Before we get out of here, I know you don't hop in an interview to ask about a bunch of other people, but I'm going to ask you about a couple of other people. I'm just going to mention names. You just say what comes to mind. I'm going to start with Reverend Hunt.
Brilliant. His passion for the sport, for the culture, for wanting to provide any possible opportunity for myself, for himself, for the guys, and trying to capitalize on that as much as possible is second to none. That's why when I created this thing, he was my first choice. He's my right-hand guy. He's the guy that I go to when things need to get done. If I'm not doing them myself, he's who I go to, and he makes it happen.
Khan.
Star. Khan is a guy who physically has every tool, verbally has every tool. He's just now sort of finding his comfort zone when it comes to speaking. When we talk away from wrestling, dude is funny. Dude is like he's talking shit with the rest of us. The minute he puts all of that together on a TV screen and he's able to have that leeway, it's a wrap for anybody else on your roster. Like, you're only going to be fighting for who's second place.
Moses.
Leader. Dude, Moses is a guy who's passionate, who's hungry, who looks out for everybody around him, will be the first one to walk through a door to take a shot if it means protecting those around him. You know what I mean? And that's how he wrestles. He's out there, one of the first ones to start the match. Why? Because he wants to set the pace. He wants to set the tone. He wants to let that other team know it only gets worse from here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to come out here and beat your ass. It's not going to get any better once I tag them in. We're going to fuck y'all up, and we're going to leave this bitch with the titles, and we're going to do what we do. When we were training with CT, you know what I mean? He's a fucking monster. You know what I mean? I don't think people understand he's as strong as he really is, to combine that strength, the power, the speed, the agility. He's got everything that you could possibly want. And again, he's someone too who when you hear him talk, you can understand there's a swagger that he carries about himself, and he's just tapping into that too. And watching the both of them speak together is incredible, the growth that they've had. But even separately, it's even more impressive to watch what they do and how they speak and how they are evolving as performers.
O'Shea Edwards,
Soldier, fucking monster. Like, the dude is big, he's jacked, he's intelligent, and he has a desire to make people look stupid, which I respect because I have the same thing. I would say O'Shea is probably the closest person to me personality-wise in the entire group. Like, it's almost like, because he's a little older than me, it's almost like looking at my big brother in a mirror. You know what I mean? It's like I see everything that I think go through his brain and vice versa, right? So that's why him being a part of the group was damn near a no-brainer. It was like, of course, you know what I mean? When he sat down, the things that he talks about, the way he does things, his general calm demeanor and attitude about things is no different than me when I was in Cleveland. It's like, bro, I don't have to yell. You and I both know if you're talking shit, we're about to fight. I don't have to yell. I don't have to scream. I don't have to get mad. I'm going to punch you in the fucking mouth. You know what I mean? And either you're going to stand up and fight, or you're just going to get your ass whooped. Either way, I don't care because I signed up for everything. You know what I mean? But his ability to go out there and do whatever he wants to whoever he wants, however he wants, we just sit back and laugh because you can't say you're bringing in the best talent or you're trying to have this echelon of athlete and not bring in a guy like O'Shea. If you do, you're just full of shit because you're not really trying to find the best.
If there were someone in pro wrestling that you could give flowers to that hasn't gotten those flowers, someone who maybe influenced you directly, indirectly, you maybe worked with, but you just haven't seen them given the proper respect, the proper flowers they should be given upon merit, who would you say deserves that?
Jesus. And it's only pick one type of thing?
No. Do what you do.
Oh, shit. I mean, if you're talking about that, immediately the first person I think of is probably Holodead. Holodead has been doing this for a long time, consistently. Every time she's out there, she makes a showcase for herself. She elevates her opponent. She elevates the company that she works for, doing a hell of a job as Mission Pro champion right now. They're doing great things with all the women down there. When she was at ROH, you know, damn near every match she had, whoever was in the match with her, that was the best match that they've seen from that person. She brings that out of people. She's an absolute monster. You know what I mean? In the ring and out of it, her drive is second to none. She's fucking awesome. She's from Cleveland too, so you got to show that love, you know. And yeah, man, like she's someone who should be on somebody's TV every single fucking week. I believe she's getting some shine now with MLW. That's fucking greatly deserved. And I hope they utilize her to the absolute very best of her ability because she's someone who can be an absolute cornerstone of a company. You look at people like Nicole Savoy as well, who is a technical fucking wizard when it comes to that, when it comes to the skill of what we do. I know she's had a lot of great stuff in Shimmer. She's been overseas, but again, she's someone who I would love to see holding a major world championship because she deserves it. Not saying that any championship she's already had isn't major, but I think people know what I'm talking about. And then you look at the current crop of athlete, and I feel like people are just starting to catch on to Lee Moriarty, just starting to catch on to Trish Adora, just starting to catch on to Darius Lockhart, just starting to catch on to Myron Reed. You know what I mean? Just starting to understand who a lot of these talents are. You got an elder statesman like a Shug D who doesn't get all of the flowers that he deserves for how much he helps not only my generation of performer, but the generation after us, this younger crop of talent. So many people get in the ring with Suge, and they are better performers after they leave that ring with Suge, myself included, right? Than they were going in. So someone like him deserves all of the credit that they can possibly get. I mentioned Caprice Coleman, who him and R-Truth have to fucking be in this fight over who can remain youngest longest. I don't fucking get it.
They vampires.
I swear, bro. I fucking swear. I'm a fucking launch a case. You know what I'm saying? To look into it, but like to see Caprice look better than just about everybody else on the roster, but then still kind of be told he's got to take this role as a commentary guy. To watch him battle through that identity crisis, but then embrace that role, succeed in that role, exceed expectation in that role, and absolutely become a master of his craft in such a short time was inspiring to me. To be able to be there and sit there and call matches with him, and him essentially do what he did in the ring on commentary. If you're in the ring with Caprice, he's going to show you how to be better. If you're on commentary with Caprice, he's going to do things and say things and set things up a certain way that damn near make it impossible for you to fuck it up. Like, you know what I mean? Like he allows you to be better. He does that with everyone. The dude, you know, has been nothing but a godsend for me since I got to ROH. So I hope he gets to be somewhere very soon and showcase what he can do, because he absolutely deserves that. And yeah, man, all the guys in STP, of course, and we'd be here all goddamn day if I was to name everybody. But those are just a few of the names here that really that everybody's talking about, that should be. And they're absolutely going to do great things, I'm sure, this year and the next years to come.
Hey, man. Quinn K in the chat asked, are you coming back to Dallas?
I am coming back to Dallas. Actually, next week, January 29th, I believe, myself, VIP Wrestling. I'm sure if you go to Facebook or anything like that, you can see the date. It'll be myself versus JTG for the VIP World Championship in an Iron Man match. I dethroned JTG at the last VIP show in December. He felt some kind of way about it. He gets his rematch. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to beat his ass again. And prove why I'm the king of not only Texas, but Dallas specifically. VIP is the flagship promotion of Texas. I'm sitting on top of that throne, which means I'm the fucking man. So people can either fall in line or they can get put in line. It makes no difference to me. JTG is just going to add his name to that list again. But by all means, you know what I mean? I want people to continue to support him. He's a great dude. Founder of many companies. I believe T-Moss, Sagaxi is hell, Beard Care. Make sure you support him in all of his endeavors, because when it comes to this wrestling thing, I'm about to beat his ass and make him go back to the end of the line.
Someone asked what your favorite Skittle is.
Favorite Skittle? I don't think I have one. I don't really, you know what? Like, we were having a conversation the other day, and there's some things, like, I feel like as an adult, you just don't fuck with like you did when you were a kid. And to me, like, Skittles is one of them, and that's just me personally. Raisins is another one. I don't really fuck with raisins like I did as a kid. You know what I mean? Like, but I'd probably say maybe the blue ones, but yeah, I don't really fuck with Skittles like that. But shout out to my boy Marshawn Lynch, you know what I'm saying? Because he's all about it. Dope for him. and got out of him a bag for it. So there's that.
Yeah, whole time, man. My man Davis is in the chat. You know what I mean? Shout out to Davis. Someone asked, can you bring back the Rodney Mack White Boy Challenge?
As much as I would love to, that's probably trademarked for Rodney. You know what I mean? So that's probably something I would have to talk to him about. But yeah, that's that's why I love Rodney though. And shout out to Rodney and shout out to the Queen Jazz too. I've been able to work with them on several projects, and man, to be able the respect that I have for the two of them is immense because again, so many of our leaders, so many of our most celebrated soldiers are just too scared to fight, right? And that's unfortunate. They got their titles, they got their cash, they got their opportunity and closed the door behind them, forgetting about everybody else. But when you see what Rodney has done, when you see what Jazz has done and who they are, they very much fight for that. And they very much take that to heart and understand, the responsibility that they have, and they love it, right? So when I was able to sit down and talk with them, and he said, you know what, I've been watching, because I didn't think he knew who I was, right? So when I introduced myself, he looked at me like, motherfucker, I know who you are. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, the stuff that you and your guys are doing is fucking dope. He's like, I wish more people had the fucking guts to say the things you say, to do the things you do, because it make life easier for all of us. Not everybody is built for the slings and arrows that come with this. Leadership has a cost that not everybody is willing to pay. But for those that do, this is the road we travel. And you just try to help as many people along the way as you can. I actually just heard a quote. I just finished a podcast and a guy used a quote. I forget who it was by, but it was dope. He said, God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called, and that's something that stuck with me. And I was like, yeah, that shit was dope.
That's official, man. We could do this all night, man. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but this was amazing. Davis, do you have anything else for Brother Shane before we get up out of here?
Nah, nothing else I can think of.
Hey, Shane, thank you. We appreciate you. Keep pushing forward and putting on for folks that look like us, specifically, you know what I mean? Niggas, bald head niggas with beards represent, you know what I mean?
We out here.
You know what I mean? Tell these hoes, leave us alone. We don't want to keep you warm this winter.
We're just trying to be good Christians out here, man. That's all we're trying to do.
Absolutely. Where can the folks get at you on social media?
At Twitter, at Shane216Taylor. Of course, you got Facebook as well. Still trying to get my Instagram back after motherfuckers hacked that. Fuck y'all for doing that. By the way, you're a bunch of bums.
Y'all some hoes.
Real shit. But that's where people can go right now. All the links to all the merch is right there in the bio. People want to show some love and then support, buy some t-shirts, hats, 8x10s, what have you. It's all right there. And yeah, man, just keep supporting the brand, keep supporting me and the guys. And I'm sure we'll be in a city near you very soon. I'm in Houston tomorrow for local wrestling, myself versus Hernandez. Then I'm out in Beaumont for myself versus Ryan Davison at Hurricane Pro. And then, the big Iron Man match in Dallas next week against JTG. So plenty of cool stuff happening. Just make sure you stay tuned to everything.
Hey, man, I am IlFam79 on your social media choice. Shout out to Brother Math. Shout out to Brother Cal. Brother Dip, where can they get you?
On Twitter at Davis, aka Drip. Instagram, Davis Colon DC. Most importantly, Black Rasslin YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, blackwrasslin.com.
That's what it is, man. Hey, listen, Shane, I need one of them baseball jerseys. You know what I mean? You ain't got to put that fancy C on it. You know what I mean? I ain't got that, but you know what I mean? I'll fight anybody, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
5'2" and under. You know what I'm
I
saying?
got
Anybody 5'2" and under, I'll fight and beat them niggas up. I just need one of them baseball jerseys, fam.
I got you.
My man, that's what it is, man. Black Rasslin at Black Rasslin on social media choice, man. And we out.
Like me or not, I didn't come up here to be liked. I came up here to get paid.